Hey everybody, it's Dr. Yvette. We're back for our last session of Bible chat for the book of Genesis. Excuse me. We are going to start at chapter 41. Hopefully you've been reading, studying, getting a better understanding, asking any questions, doing your own research to make sure you have a foundation for what's been going on and how it relates to your life. We are approaching Valentine's Day in this month, and we are also in the month of February for Black History Month. So I told you before that my book, my Bible, highlights all kinds of wonderful things. Portraits of contemporary Black achievement. Marian Anderson, concert singer. Mary McLeod Bethune, educator. She's right in Daytona Beach, Florida. Her school. And that's where she's buried. Harry Burley, composer, and so many others. That's one reason I really like my grandma's Bible. All right, let's get into it because I don't want to keep you over an hour like I have been doing the last few sessions. All right, turn to chapter 41 and read along with me. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. And he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, and rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof, magicians, wise men. He had the whole kit and caboodle. And Pharaoh told him his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. You see, first of all, he understood there's something serious going on if it made me feel the way it made me feel after I had this dream. There's something that was so real about it. I need to find out what it means. Okay? But none of the people that he has on payroll could help him. Verse 9. Mine says the, should be then. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh. Remember, the chief butler was in prison with Joseph. And he said, I'm going to interpret your dream. And when I do, and you are replaced in your position next to the king, please don't forget about me. Tell him about me. And he forgot until now. I believe 3 years went by. 3 years, I think, because he's been there a long time. But I think it was 3 years since the chief butler, was put back in his position. So he says to Pharaoh, I do remember my faults this day. So in other words, he's saying, oh man, I was supposed to tell you this a long time ago. And I'm just now remembering because I got a little too happy to be back in my position. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house. So now he's giving him the history. You remember that time you put me in prison for that thing I did that I don't want to talk about right now, but you remember when you had to put me in prison? Yeah, I met this guy while I was there. Both me and the chief baker, remember that, Pharaoh? And we dreamed a dream in one night. We both had a dream the same night. I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. Verse 12, and there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. He said, bring him to me right away. Now, they didn't grab him dirty with clothes that the rats had already been chewing on, and, a beard down to his chest and hair looking like he'd been in water, out of water, in water, out of water, in water, out of water. They took him and shaved him. So we're on verse 14. And they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. I love Joseph's response. Verse 16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Do we give God credit like that now? And I said we. Verse 17, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. He said, in all the time that I've been here and I've seen famine, I've never seen anything that bad. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them. But they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I woke. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears, withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. He's going to, listen. Joseph is giving Pharaoh a little bit of a lesson in the Creator God. So he says the dream of Pharaoh is one. So let me just make sure you understand that I'm about to give you what you call me for. But I need you to know that it's because of God. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. Verse 26. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Nowadays, if God sends a hurricane, for example, we have to name it alphabetically. Anyway, verse 29. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. 31. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. He said 7 long years of plenty. When that famine hits, as bad as it's going to be, nobody is even going to remember that they had 7 years of plenty. What 7 years of plenty? Do you see where we are now? It's dry. It's desolate. Verse 32. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. Now he's explaining to him. To know God. To know God. Joseph knows his creator. So he says to him, It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. You dreamed it twice, because this thing is established by God, and he will surely bring it to pass. Now, therefore, then he went on. He didn't back up and say, all right, thank you for your time. I'm so glad you called me out. Can I stay out? He said, now listen, this is what you need to do. Now, this is what you need to do. Let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. Start storing it up. Start preserving it. Start saving. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. That's the only way we're not going to perish. This is the plan for the next 14 years so that we can survive. 37, and the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. 38, and Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a man as this? A man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, you see, I just have to say this really quickly. If you are promoted, if you are put in a position of authority and decision-making power, everybody should know it. The person who makes that call needs to make everyone aware. There needs to be a public announcement. Otherwise, there is confusion. And Pharaoh did just that. It was like a parade. 44, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zapnath-paneah. And he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. 46, and Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Now remember, he was a teenager when his brothers threw him in that pit. It's a long time. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh, and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in that same city. Or it says in the same. I just kind of translated. 49, and Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea. Imagine that. You've been out on the beach. You pick up 2 handfuls of sand. That's the plentiness of the corn, until he left numbering, for it was without number. He couldn't even count it anymore. So I'll read 49 again. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. 50, and unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came. which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. My grandma has some notes in pencil, but I can't make out Manasseh and Ephraim. Okay. 51. And Joseph. Okay. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh. For God, said he, hath made me forget all my toil in all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim. For God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. He can cause you to be fruitful right there where you have been afflicted. He can cause you to be fruitful right where you have been afflicted. You don't have to go anywhere. 53. In the 7 years of plenteousness, and sometimes you can't go anywhere, he will cause you to be fruitful right where you are. 53. In the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended. 7 years come and gone. 54. And the 7 years of Darth began to come. Now you know what that means because of what we've already read. So if that's a new word for you, you know what it means because of what we've already read. Plentiness, plenteousness, abundance for 7 years. Now it's time for the years of Darth. All right. 54. And the 7 years of Darth began to come according as Joseph had said. And the Darth was in all lands. But in all the land of Egypt, there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Famished. That's a pretty common word nowadays. If they're crying out for bread and they're famished, you know what that means. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, so next time you go to Thanksgiving dinner, you didn't do any cooking, you just been waiting on everybody else to finish cooking, you can say, I am famished, when are we going to eat? Go unto Joseph, what he saith to you, do. All right? So they were crying out to him because nobody remembered the plenty. Remember? They don't remember. So when they came to Pharaoh, as they should, he said, you need to go talk to Joseph. Go see him. Go see him. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all lands. So everybody needed this. Everybody. And they were coming to Egypt. They were migrating to Egypt, ready to make a purchase because they were all starving nearly to death. Chapter 42. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do ye look one upon another? Why are y'all standing around here staring at each other? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob, sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him. Before there was Benjamin, Joseph was the baby. After they faked his death, and he was sold into slavery and then made a prisoner, and then, well, you see where he is now. In all that time, he now has another brother, and this one is his brother, maternal and fraternal. So Rachel gave birth to 2 of those boys, Joseph and Benjamin. Okay, remember that? That's got to be in your notes. So when it was time to go, Jacob said, no, Benjamin, you stay here. I just can't take another tragedy. For some reason, I just don't feel like anything's going to happen to my other sons, but the Rachel babies that I have. Verse 5. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. Did he not dream that? And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them. So he changed his appearance, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, I don't want you to imagine that he changed his appearance by going and disguising himself, but he did something to make them not recognize who he was. I mean, it's already been a number of years. So one way to distract them is to be mean with them. They just saw him be kind to everybody else in the line, and now it's their turn, and now he's being hostile. So he spake roughly unto them, and he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies. To see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said unto him, Nay, my Lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We only came to buy food. We didn't come to scope nothing out. We are all one man's sons. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. You only came here to see how bad things are looking. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, You are spies. Hereby you shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh you shall not go forth hence. You're not leaving here. Except your youngest brother come hither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. And he put them all together into ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, This do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your houses, but bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, We are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. We are reaping what we sow. Divine reciprocity is slapping us upside the head. And Reuben answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child? And you would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. We have a penalty to pay. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. So when they began to speak to him, he used an interpreter as if he didn't understand the language. And now they're speaking in his native language, and he understands every word they're saying. So he hears that they are grieving about it, that they feel guilty about it, that they regret what they did to him, that there is remorse, that they believe he's a dead man somewhere, nothing but bones. 24, and he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again and communed with them, and took from them Simeon and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. So Simeon is going to hang back. And they laded their asses with the corn, and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. So Joseph didn't let them know he was giving them the money back that they used to pay for the food. 28, and he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this that God hath done unto us? And they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, verse 30, This man, who is the Lord of the land, spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, we are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. So when they say one is not, they're saying he died. 33. And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you your brother, and you shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that, behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. Goodness gracious, we are in trouble. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said unto them, me have ye bereaved for my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to thee. Deliver him into my hand, meaning Benjamin, and I will bring him to thee again. And if I don't, this is what he's saying, you can kill my 2 sons. Oh, Reuben. Oh, Reuben. Oh, the things you got to carry when you're the oldest. Okay, I'll leave that alone. 38. And he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone, if mischief befall him by the way in the which ye go. Then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Chapter 43. And the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass, don't try that at home. And it came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto him, saying, the man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, remember, Israel is Jacob. God gave him the name Israel. And Israel said, wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? Why did you even tell him? Number 7. And they said, the man asked us straightly of our state and of our kindred, saying, is your father yet alive? Have ye another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, bring your brother down? We talk the same way today, y'all. We just got to take the time and look in the word. We have these same conversations. Number 8, and Judah said unto Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I will be surety for him. Please, I'll be insurance. And of my hand shalt thou require him. If I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned this second time. He said, if we hadn't been sitting around here all this time, we would have been there and back again. Sound like something we'd say? Something somebody we know would say. And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so, now do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds. And take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks. Carry it again in your hand, peradventure it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. 15. And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up, and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, Bring these men home, and slay, and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. So he said, Go prepare one of our finest animals. They're going to eat with me. And the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought unto Joseph's house. And they said, Because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us, and fall upon us, and take us for bondsmen and our asses. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, O sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass, when we came to the inn, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, Peace be to you, fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house, and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave them their asses provender. They washed their feet. I'm going to keep going, but foot washing was ceremonial. Foot washing was important, and even now, it's just as important. That's what we use to get around, and that's going to be the first thing that attracts dirt, because that's how we get around. So if you will just wash your feet. 25. And they made ready the present against Joseph, came at noon. And they made ready the present against Joseph, came at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. "26. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom you spake, is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant our father is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother, of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother. And he sought where to weep. And he entered. Just think about that. You're looking for a private place to just shed some tears. And that's what Joseph was doing. That's what he looked like. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. He's seeing him for the first time. You know, when you love family, when you value family. 31. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, Set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves. And then the next part of that verse is going to explain to us why they all ate in different sections. Because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright. Order. Not only are you, if you're the oldest, there are some certain things that you are expected to do, certain ways you are expected to be. So they sat according to their birthright. and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. They marveled at this. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs. That's not the kind of mess we use today, watching one of the housewives shows and you see them being messy. That's not this. This is a positive. So I'll read 34 again. He took and sent messes unto them from before him, but Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. So he just set a wonderful place in front of Benjamin and said, eat and drink to your heart's content. And all the brothers were sitting there also very happy, very pleased with what they were eating and drinking, but they know that Benjamin got 5 times what we got. Okay, chapter 44. Joseph tests his brethren's loyalty. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, Benjamin. I said Benjamin, but just, it's not in there. And his corn money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. So one more time, they... Hey, honey bunches. Hey, baby. You on your way? Again, you were supposed to just get right on 95. To be continued.